Hello and welcome back to Spekd. Today we're going to be looking at Warhammer Conquest issue number 32. We have a character for $7.99. This is going to be sweet. Let's get this open. Just had a bit of a geek moment there. When I opened the packaging, I could smell the vegetable ink that they used to print these items with. Yeah, this new and fresh opening. Okay. Anyway, let's have a look at the frames. So we've got two sprues here for the model. We've got a nice detailed base you can see right away there. Seems like Primaris being recovered. Yeah, it doesn't look too well. It needs fixing. Looks like you've got multiple weapon options. Let's have a look at that. But no bobbles, no breaks. Nice and clean. 2017. Great, let's put those aside. A character base there. And I actually picked it up in one go. Okay, let's have a look at the magazine. As I said, $7.99, which is actually really good. The individual model itself costs a hell of a lot. So this is pretty much the only one I'm going to ever pick this model up. If it comes in a set, I'll take it. If it doesn't, for what it does and how often you might use it, I don't think it'll be that worth it. So Space Marine Apothecaries, Primaris Apothecary, and the Apothecary Rules. I do like that piece of artwork. Nice colour range again, looking good. Alright, so let's have a look. We've got our history, lore, build, paint section, and battle missions. I would love to see how this is going to work. I want to see the restoration of characters. So Apothecaries and their job pretty much is to remove the gene seed which is inside the Fallen Battle Brothers. It's a special gland which, if you remember back in one of the previous issues, it actually mentions all the things which are needed to create Space Marines, and that gland needs to be recollected each time, so it can be passed on to a new one. And there's the information there. The progenoid gland. There's a war gear for the Apothecary. And they actually have these little weird servo arms. I say weird, but they're like surgical tools. So you've got your lights, your syringes, and your cutting tools. And to see it as a weapon is such a weird thing to think of. And these guys are actually fairly tough. If you think of like battlefield medics, that's who these guys are. And yeah, they kick butt and chew gum. They even have canoptic jars. We'll throw back to Egypt there. Really nice. Narthecium. Take it out real quick. Okay, so here's the war gear, updated. I like that, you know, we've got all these bits highlighted so you can see the detail from now, because in the paint section you won't have this detail. But if you at least have it here, if you just remember to come back to it, it will look good. Okay. So what are we looking at here? So we're looking at the history here of the one of the gene stealer hives. So hives are like these massive cities which have been built, and it's like cities on top of cities, and extensive. So for these guys to be going into the underhives mean there's a massive infestation. These guys just don't turn up for that reason. Battle and war is what they're about. So Death Watch, yeah. I mean, they look nice. Look at that. Now I have actually got Death Watch Army, but I don't actually have Primaris Death Watch. So, yeah, I mean, the interceptors look real good there. Enough said. If you can't make up your mind for what army you want to play, if you're going through the Space Marine route, take Death Watch, and you get to have multiple different kind of legions pulled together under one banner. So Primaris Apothecary build, you will need glue, and there's optional assemblies. And with the optional assemblies, sometimes people magnetize. You can use super glue, so you can snap things off and just paint every option and put back on what you want when you're ready. It's not too bad. There's the additional parts there. So you got the Narthecium and the bolter. I'll just put either one of those on this thigh. So I have the options here for putting on his equipment, his pieces like his drill bits, etc. I'll probably just find a way to stick them all on at once to use them, just so I can flick through combat options. If you do something like that, speak to your opponent beforehand and explain to them what options you're using for your weapons, so you don't misuse them, and it can help just kind of prevent those bad feelings. Okay, so we've got our paints there. We've got a lovely little collection of paints going on, which will give us our model quite nicely. Now, they're working up from this blue, and that can be really hard to do. Now, there is an undertone of blue here, so that's not too bad. If you actually had to work up from, say, well, I wouldn't even use black, but if you did actually want to kind of like start to work up to get a nice white, if you do start off with a black, so you base coat in like, oh my goodness, I've forgotten, move on to Rakhar Flesh, base over the black, bring that up, intensity up, and start adding your lighter colours, and it works really well. I spent back in the day ages just trying to bring that colour up, like from like a black to a white, and it doesn't really work. Don't forget to take your details, go back to that first section, have a little look, and go from there. And it's really nice how they put that together for you to see. Yeah, so we're going in for details. Yeah, just refer back to that original picture, just to see what things you can contrast and bring out. Because I know they're doing it in block colours initially here, but there may be things that you want to change afterwards that you can't really go back and change. But you can paint over things, you can remove paint, but if you can get it right from the beginning, it can really help. And that's quite a large section. I feel like these sections are getting a lot larger, or is it just my imagination? No problem. They actually have a violet wash, and I think it was Adam Fox showed me with one of his models, like these little like marks and lines going into the model's head, like scarifications or tubes. If you put a little bit of that violet next to it, it just makes them look like they're agitated, and it stands out really well. When I get the pictures together for the community, I'll show you. So, what was I just talking about? Look, how to paint, and it's got fixing mistakes. So it's talking about going back over and resolving errors. I was literally just talking about this. So you can do it, and it takes a little bit of finer detail and focus, but just take your time and you'll be okay. So, Honor of Fallen, story is moving forward on Corvin 2, and we're now looking at restoring fallen models. Now this is great. If I had my way, 2 of these guys in the backfields with hell blasters all day, every day, you know, till you lose models, you get them back. Fingers crossed on command points. So we've got recover the gene seed, so this will be a mission based where you're going to have a target where you're going to move towards your token that you still have on the mats, more than likely. Yep, there we go. So that's the objectives, so we're starting to play objectives again. So we probably will get more objectives in the future. But you've got 5 Plague Marines, 12 Prox Walkers, Foul Blight, Spawn, Biologist, Putrefy. If you use the stats from the little data cards, you will see that I think it's a Putrefy. It might be the Putrefy. It only has like 1 wound. Just check your actual data sheets, and you'll see that he has 4. Otherwise, this is a mismatch. You've got your intercessors, 5 of them, Lieutenant Calcius, I've obviously changed that, 5 Reavers, and Primaris Apothecary. So you can see there, 5 battle rounds. Whoever's next to the objective, yeah, okay, objective game. Good to see. Right, so we've got our Primaris information there, our data sheet. Always good to keep these to hand. And then that's it, it closes out. We've got our information on guidance, we've got our next issues, which I forgot to do last issue. Thank you for letting me know. So we have our, what is this? Is it like thermal pipes or something? Or plasma pipes? And we have more, well, and that looks like another Death Guard Terminator. And blade casters. So these guys are now going to give you warp capabilities. If you remember the Primaris Librarian, these are the Death Guard equivalent. Okay, so what I'm going to do, that was quite a good issue, is put together the model and get that back. So I've put the Apothecary under a bright light, just high contrast, just so I can pick out details, because I've noticed the shadows really help me see details like that Helix Prime on the right shoulder pauldron there of the Apothecary. Getting in closer, you can see all the options for the arms there. You normally only have one of those with the light system, but what I've done is I've simply trimmed down the saw arm and the, looks like a taser, I can't remember what it's called right now, and just kind of added those on, and you can see it there. It's just kind of straightforward. And again, with that light being so strong, it helps me to see the contrast that I need for the details. Now, there's so many purity seals on this model, I just have to pay attention of that. And also, the base is so well designed as it has a Space Marine down the ground. Unfortunately, it will be a Blood Angel Space Marine, but we'll make the Apothecary look good to compensate. And here he is, the Apothecary. He's got a little bit of battle damage on his helm, but overall he remains clean. I tried to drag out as much details as I could, and keeping this model clean was kind of difficult with the white, as white's not too easy. What I did decide to do was use a blue glaze rather than go through the wash sections that they talk about in the magazine. There are one or two other things that I'll pull through in the future, but for now, that's ready for the table. And that turned out really well. And as always, this has been Spekd. I've enjoyed my time. I hope you enjoyed your time. PC out.